Hey, you. Welcome back. I am really glad you joined me today. Tonight, it's 1:19 a.m. here. Tonight, I really want to share a massive breakthrough that I had and just a couple of things that I have learned in the last 24, 36 hours. Essentially, I did all the hard work with my therapist, and I did some really hard journaling, and I shared that with you guys in my last podcast about being extraordinary, exceptional, and just recognizing and embracing that. And there was a moment where all of that hard work just accumulated, and suddenly, without warning, without fireworks or bells and whistles or a cake or any way to celebrate it, in this almost spiritual way, my entire being was literally just transported to a void, for lack of a better way to put it. Just bear with me for a moment and just imagine a massive expanse. For me, it's like outer space, it's like a galaxy. It's just massive. There's nothing that you can touch, but you feel very safe, incredibly safe, which is new for me. And in that safety, I look around and I do a full 360. All I see in this void is opportunity. It was the single most amazing experience to get to on my growth journey. I've heard about this growth, this level. I have researched it. I have read about it. I really was surprised by the nothingness when you get there. And the nothingness is the power, because all of the people who were always just clawing at you to take your power, to take your energy, take your vibrations, take the waves that you put out and stomp on them, or be those energy vampires, or those people who just constantly find fault with you. All of those people were on the outside of my beautiful, glorious, empty space. And getting through to that space was almost like, how when you have saran wrap, we've all just come through Thanksgiving, so saran wrap, and you cover the bowl. Let's just say it's fruit salad, right? And you cover the fruit salad, and the saran wrap is just so nice and tight, but it's very pliable in its tightness, right? And you could poke a hole right through that saran wrap. That is what it felt like going through this climb. I don't even remember the exact thing that sent me there. I did some massive journaling. I was up 3:30 in the morning last I don't know, Monday-ish, Tuesday-ish. Did this journaling work. And when I did that journaling work, where I wrote it down, I had accountability to whatever the issue was. Um, Accountability that I couldn't get in real life, but I needed to have that. My entire body was screaming for that accountability. And I put it down on the paper, and I just felt all that energy, all of that negativity just flowing out of me. It was positively spiritual. And as those words went down, just like when I did the positive words in the exercise before, where I filled up 2 pages with beautiful, glorious gifts of words that my friend had really pushed me towards achieving. recognizing, feeling the ripples of those words sink into me. 2 days later, I then did the same exercise, but with a topic that had really been weighing down on me. And I was able, 6 pages later, to close that journal and feel like I had closed that chapter on the hurt and the pain, the things that I can't change. And when I closed that book and I went to bed and I woke up the next day, it was sometime between the next 24 hours where a few things happened and I set some pretty good boundaries. They weren't mean, they weren't terribly clunky or awful. They just were strong boundaries of like, nope, that's not going to work for me. These are the options I can offer you. And it was from, everywhere from my children to my lawyer to going to court and getting postponed and not falling off of a cliff when I got postponed to this coming Monday. Just some really big things in there, right? And I handled them all completely differently because I had been doing this hard work on journaling. And after that second journal entry and these big boundaries that I had set through the week and really protecting myself and valuing myself in a way that I never had before, and sitting down at the computer and looking at my role on whatsup.org, go visit us, changing and normalizing mental health conversation. When I sat at the computer and I looked at the marketing that I had been doing there, and it was good. It don't get me wrong, it was very good, but it wasn't dialed in. I'm really good at what I do, but I hadn't yet dialed in to look at the marketing that I was doing as an owner, as an aggressive owner with a message to get out into the world. And my God, that's a huge message. Normalizing mental health conversations. Who doesn't want that? So why was I being shy, reserved, wordy, flowery about that message? Because I hadn't gotten there yet in my intrinsic self to own it, mentally own it. So that day, the work that I did at my computer was massive, massive. I churned out a lot of work for whatsup.org, but in addition, I was able to fine tune it and really dial it down to no more flowery stuff, really looking at this from the eyes of an owner and the eyes of somebody with something that's really valuable and really important to get out there in the world and make a difference. That kind of combination of things that, we're all churning together in the background, the journaling, the boundary setting, the looking at my business through new and fresh eyes, the court, going to court and not spinning out of control over yet again delays on a financial ruling from the judge from September that still is not being followed, not being weighted down by any of those things, by honoring myself and honoring my boundaries, and even shutting some doors with people who wanted community help, wanted school board help, wanted to date, just shutting doors that did not need to open because they didn't fit Nita. Felt amazing. Absolutely felt amazing. To put me first in my life was brand new. And the reward of putting me first in my life was reaching this plateau, this plateau is not the right word, but it's this balanced peace, this galaxy. And in the galaxy, it's so peaceful because you're only honoring yourself. It was so meditatively amazing and truly spiritual. I know I'm going to say that a lot, but it really is. It was awe inspiring. It truly, it was just this massive acknowledgement, like self awareness of something changed. And this is what it feels like. Coming out of that void, that space where I truly honored myself and seeing all I saw in that void was what I wanted from life, what I wanted to accomplish in life. And I'll tell you what, the things that were zooming out at me, they weren't the things that I'm really good and confident at right now. I'm a fucking amazing mom. They weren't those things, right? They weren't the things I'm doing at a high level right now. They were the things that I have always been denied my entire life, right? Since what, fifth grade, fourth grade, I have had teachers tell me, you should write, you should write, you should write. But because of the people in my life that I had allowed and surrounded myself with and given my voice and my power to, I was never given the space to do that. So in this area, this breakthrough of personal growth, all of the passions and all of the things that I want to explore just soared at me. And for the first time in my entire life, every one of those things, just as they flew at me, I was like, yes, 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 yes. There was no question. There was no hesitation. There was simply the knowledge, this is my path. Stick with me. Let's take a quick break and we'll pick up the conversation on the other side. Thanks for sticking around. I decided in the break that I really need to call this like the magical void of superpower. Because it's a way better than a plateau or um, galaxy or void. It really is where you find your magic powers, your secret sauce. It is what makes you you. And everybody who has ever tried to steal your power is on the outside of your plastic wrap. They cannot get in because you're the one who pokes the bubbles. Pokes into the saran wrap, pokes the holes, pokes the little bubbles into the saran wrap. It is positively magic. And what came out of that was truly astounding to me. Truly astounding. And I didn't have to unpack this with my therapist. We talked about it and we deepened it. But I didn't have to unpack it, which I really thought was kind of interesting, right? I kind of expected that I might get to something that she would want to teach me, but it wasn't. She was really just excited for me and where I was, how I had gotten there. She actually wanted to see my journal. So she looked through my journal and she was just incredibly happy because the tools that we have been working on for a year now, for a year, are paying off. They're working. And now the conversation has completely changed with her and it's amazing. I'm sure I will have slide backs and I will have struggles and I will have difficult moments, but now I know what the feeling of the magical space is, right? I know how to get there. And it's no longer something I've never experienced that I don't even believe exists or know exists. I now know it exists, and I know my power that comes out of it. In that space, when it was hitting me with all of these, it was it was jobs, like, right? And businesses, business ventures, deepening the businesses that I have going on, revenue streams that I can have off of them. It truly was just a completely ownership moment of Nita. Nita finally owning Nita and being accountable to Nita and only Nita. When I stepped away from that and I ended up at my computer doing some work, the work that I did was night and day, night and day from what I had been doing 2 days ago, 4 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, night and day. The work was at a completely um, invested level. There are still some things I cannot write about and that I cannot talk about. There are some really hurtful things, evil things that happened throughout my life that it'd be a few years. I'll have to go back to Nancy at some point and unpack those things because those are big. But those things don't matter right now, right? They just don't matter right now. And we're celebrating this magical space. As I realized the power that I had given myself, right? The power that I had given myself. Oh my gosh. The other thing that happened during all of this, my son, who had a concussion, a traumatic brain injury, took him 2 years to recover from it. It was very life altering. He played in his first high level game, returned to the field, and he played about 70 minutes of the game, of an 80-minute game. He played with his older brother. So seeing my two oldest boys on the field together, one of them after a massive TBI, return to play process that took 24 months. And, and, and wait for it, right in front of my line of sight was my abuser. The person I'm divorcing was working on that field during the game. The biggest growth moment came in the fact that I truly did not have an emotional reaction to seeing him at the field at all. And in fact, I literally remember thinking, well, that's just like weird because I don't feel anything. And it's almost just like seeing a random stranger on the street. That is how literally nothing that I felt for this person. So um, his power has gone, has gone. Uh, there was a moment where I was a little like, ugh, when I drove up, right? But then when I got out and I expected that rush of negative energy to hit me, it didn't. It didn't. And that was key in my week of growth to getting to my galaxy of magical space. I want everybody to get to the galaxy of magical space because that is where you just find you and you realize that you're a really fucking amazing person. The other thing that I just wanted to touch on tonight was it's finally dawned on me. I mean, I know that I've seen it. I know that I've experienced it. I know. Now you're asking, what does she know? Well, I know now that not everybody is meant to be Nita's people. And I never used to know that, right? Being a people pleaser, everybody needed to like Nita. And of course, that's unrealistic, and not everybody did like Nita. And I survived, but I always had my feelings hurt, and I always was sliding down a little sticker patch. When in reality, this week, what I have learned is that there are people who want to be Nita's people, and they are not my people. There are people who really, truly, I have a very positive connection with, and we could do great projects together, but they're not far enough in their journey to, well, to truly be around Nita. And then there are people who are a major part of my journey who they're only my people for that part of my journey that they are involved in. And that's okay. But I never knew that. I'm going to amend that. Yes, I read it everywhere, like we all do, but I couldn't understand it and I could not accept it. And I actually deepened that conversation with my therapist recently. It wasn't this week, but it was recent because I really just didn't understand it quite yet when I deepened the conversation. And what I what I explained to her is that because I am a really, really, really boom person, boom. I have had friends like track me down in the grocery store 3 aisles over because of my laugh, right? Even hurt, damaged, broken Nita before this major breakthrough this week lived life, loves life, lived life, hurts hard, but lives hard. And in my spaces of happiness, people want to be there because I very much live out loud. I am very vibrant and very vivacious and very, very, very jump in loud. And what I said to my therapist was, I am beginning to learn and understand that not everybody can handle me because I am a lot. I am a lot. I am a demanding woman with high expectations of herself. I know we're not supposed to have expectations, but quite honestly, I mean, come on, you're going to have some as you get through the day. Um, we'll delve into that later. Anyway, I have a really, really high accountability, high authenticity. And what I have found is the more that I heal, the less patience I have for people who are fake, who are plasticky, who are not authentic. If you are not accountable to your words or your actions and you're in my path, I am going to mow you the fuck over because I don't have any time for it. I don't want any part of it. I don't have any time for it. And really quickly, people tend to not like that or they love it. But what I'm finding is that um, just a lot of people really don't know what to do with me. They just don't know what to do with me. They don't know what to do with my, um, it's not aggressiveness, but it's directness. It's very directness. And a while back, that would have really bugged me. But now, after really talking with her about that and understanding it more, it's just the way that it is. I love the person that I am, and I love my gray area is more of a silver chrome area, right? There's it's not that I'm black and white, but that I'm authentic and I am upholding of my moral code. Okay, it doesn't mean that I'm prudish or uh, perfect. I can't even think of other words. Regardless, it just means that for what I will allow in my space, that's what I'm going to allow in my space. And if you're going to come into my space lobbing stones with when your words and your actions do not meet, you are going to exit my space super quick. And I like it that way. I like it that way. And what I have seen in the last couple of weeks, as I have stopped lollygagging around and wasting my time in spaces and places where people are not authentic, my productivity has skyrocketed. My confidence skyrocketed. My ability to perform basic household tasks skyrocketed. My accountability to exercise skyrocketed. My peace of mind off the charts. My boundary setting, and keep in mind, I have to have pretty strong boundaries. I have to have really strong boundaries because if I don't, I could open those doors back up to mean people, right? My boundary setting is smooth, effective, and Nita supportive. I am at the healthiest that I have ever been. I am at the mentally happiest that I have ever been. And realizing that not everybody can handle my directness, my passion, my integrity, my drive, determination, my get the fuck out of my way, I'm just going to get it done attitude. And that does not mean that I do not teach people when people want to be taught, but it means um, I'm not going to have anybody detour me or slow me down just because they don't believe in the path I'm going anymore. That's what it means. Being true to myself will cost me fake relationships, fake people, fake entities, fake places, places that do not represent me, right? Wasting my time in uh, stores, in locations, in just across the board. I'm sure we can all think of places that you're just like, I'd rather have my like a root canal than go there, right? It's really about embracing the authentic you and simply being okay with that. And everything else just falls to the side because the authentic you is so fucking brilliant and sunshine. It literally is like touching sunshine. That's what it feels like. Stick with me. We're going to take one quick break and we'll be back and we'll wrap up this episode. Thanks for sticking around. I am just so excited. I just can't even tell you guys. I'm not even sure if this podcast makes sense. And I'm not even sure if I care, quite honestly, because getting to the spot of the magical galaxy void where you have just set yourself out on a giant tabletop, a plateau of like the most beautiful mesa, right? M-E-S-A, the most beautiful space with wide open space, nothing in sight, nobody can reach you. It's just you, just your thoughts, just what you need, and that you are willing to cut out all the bullshit, to just cut it off. Cut it off. If it doesn't fulfill my bubble in some way, then it doesn't fit and it doesn't belong. That is the magic. That is the magic, the secret sauce, the superpower. That right there, just honoring yourself. I'll tell you what though, it is one hard uphill across quicksand, over glass, broken shards of glass climb to get there. But when you do, it it is the most magical thing. As I close this out, I've got to tell you a little story about today. So I did pretty good exercising as the separation first occurred. I just really needed that exercise. I hadn't started therapy. I hadn't started healing myself, but the physical healing, uh, just the activity, was so good for me. It was so healthy. When I started the mental healing, and then COVID hit, right? So I did pretty good still physically exercising until COVID hit, and then when COVID hit, and the mental healing, the PTSD, just massive, massive mental healing began. I cannot tell you how unimportant physical exercise, organized physical exercise was to me. I was literally just hanging on to threads every week, every day, every moment, breath to breath. I remember my business partner, John, telling me just breath to breath, moment to moment. Don't get out of the minute. When my PTSD attacks were just spinning, cycling. It didn't last for very long, but it was just a terrifying hell of a weekend, a couple weekends. Anyway, when I was just moment to moment, breath to breath, there is no way I could exercise. Are you freaking kidding me? There's no way. Literally no way. And and that was hard, right? And I had a few people kind of push on me, well, you feel so much better if you added exercise. And I'm just thinking, I'm fucking drowning here. I am drowning in my own life, in trying to survive. And you want me to try to go like do leg lifts or jog or uh, jumping jacks? Are you kidding me? Right? It just felt very violated by their naive push on me. And in this last week, I have added hiking. The last 2 weeks, I've added hiking and walking because I felt like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. The timing was there. So today was the first day of Nita getting out and hitting a trail with a couple dogs and her galaxy, her magical moonbeams brighter than the sun galaxy inside of her. And as we loaded in the car, as we drove up there, as we got there, and we started our walk and then walked, it was 27 degrees when we started. It was absolutely gorgeous, bright, sunny, um, beautiful day, start to the day. And the ironic thing was, the walk was different. Everything about the walk was new and different. Everything I saw was with different eyes, different approach. It was just completely different. For lack of a better word, and not wanting to use the word different too much, it was empowering. It was the first time, maybe in my life, that I have truly gone out and exercised and said, I want more. I want to do more. And one of my little doggies had to go. She could not walk more than 2 miles. That was her limit. But I put her in the car and I took the big dog for another mile. And I would have gone more, but I had a meeting that I needed to get home and get ready for. But it was a completely different mental space that allowed me to push into a physical activity range at such a new level than I truly don't remember ever experiencing it quite like this. Ever. Never. Ever, never, never. So I just wanted to touch on that because out of this one breakthrough, it's massive. It's massive breakthrough. But out of that one breakthrough, so many things have happened. So many things have happened. So many things that I'm proud of. I'm not questioning. I know my path. I know what I'm doing is the right thing for me to be doing. I know how now to monetize it. And the interesting thing, reflecting back to my conversation with my therapist, that she pointed out to me, and she asked if I realized something was different and I didn't catch it. And so then we talked about it. And what it was that it was the first time that I have ever owned my responsibility of who's going to make it happen. Nita. Nita's going to make it happen. No one else. No one's going to come rescue her. She doesn't need that. She's going to make it happen because she's in control of her life. She's in control of her future. And it felt amazing. It felt amazing to simply accept that this is my life and I get to do all of these amazing things. All right. Obviously, you guys know that I am a huge advocate for finding the right therapist for your need, preferably somebody who is trained or specializes or has personal experience and history with whatever it is that you are overcoming. So be sure that you check that out and make sure you get the right therapist for your need and use them, right? And as your tribe changes based on your frequency, based on your vibe, on what you're putting out there, embrace the new tribe and let the old tribe graciously exit. There doesn't have to be conversations or confrontations, but there does need to be just a simple truth accountability to yourself, to what is working for you. Because you need to be leading your life. You need to be running into your life, jumping into your life. You need to be that freaking all-star that is leading the charge into the game because it is your game and you get to set the rules. You get to set how high the bar is. And I hope you set it on the moon or beyond. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have an amazing day. Check us out on whatzup.org, WATZUP.org, and give us some follows, give us some likes, share it around, hashtag what's up. Help us normalize mental health conversations, just like this conversation I'm having with you today. That is what we want to normalize at whatsup.org. It's okay to talk. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to share. It is okay to write it out. It's okay to go outside. And, if you're not waking up the neighbors in the middle of the night, it's okay if you need to scream to do that. Because sometimes that's what you need to do. I know that because that's what my therapist told me to do once. So check us out at whatsup.org. Go check me out. Follow me on A Glimpse into the Moment. And give me some feedback. I will be looking to adding some guests in the future. I am really glad that I've kind of paused on adding guests. I think that the show is creating a much healthier space along with Nita, and that's going to be reflective. So we want to be sure that we're kind to our guests when they come on. We being me. Yes, I know that I made you guys part of my little world there. aglimpseintothemoment.com. Go check it out there. It is growing, changing, and the blog is getting kicked off. There's some new ideas kind of kicking around in the works there over the coming weeks. You'll be seeing some stuff there. So go check us out. I'm super excited about all of it. And have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon.